Hey everyone, welcome to the November 2nd episode of the Nat Daddy Weekly Roundup. I am Nat Daddy. I'm here to tell you what was new this week and give you some reviews on some great books that did come out. We got a good stack here as well. Indie heavy, of course, because we love our independent books here. But first, if you're just joining us for the first time, or perhaps you're a regular connoisseur of the Weekly Roundup, do take a moment to subscribe, whether it's to our YouTube or our Facebook channels. That would be greatly appreciated. Even Instagram as well too. We'd like to post a little bit more on there, but I do forget about that. But do take a moment to subscribe. Let's try and get those numbers up so we can do more amazing stuff and put up great content for you guys. Let's jump right in. Like I said, this is the Weekly Roundup where we review a bunch of great books in that. Books that we get from our wonderful sponsors here. We like to use 204 Comics in the Winnipeg area. Great place there for, like I said, Nat Daddy deals in his exclusives, but where it comes to regular books and that, we work with the 204 guys. Great guys. Like I said, check them out. And also, we do work with the Primos Wrestling out of Winnipeg as well, too. Awesome group of people there. If you're a fan of pro wrestling, do check it out. We got a new show coming up, actually, for the Primos Wrestling group there, coming up on November 23rd. So if anybody is interested in the Winnipeg area, do check out November 23rd. It's a Thursday. It's going to be a pretty crazy night. They've already announced the Ballroom Ball for the championship there. And also the GM and the owner are going to have a winner stays, loser has to leave the company match as well too. That's going to be hardcore. So look for some older gentlemen beating up on each other hardcore wise. So definitely do check that out. And if you're not able to make it in person, we do stream it on the Nat Daddy channel here as well. So do check that out as well. Like I said, we do put out exclusives here and that. So here are some of our exclusives. This is the Nat Daddy exclusives here. Can all be found on the Nat Daddy Collectibles website, natdaddycollectibles.com. And I'm going to put up this weekend, actually, because they'll be shipping out next week, the new Josie and the Pussycats books that we are bringing in from our friends Danny Harrell and there. So there is the Josie and the Pussycats Anniversary Spectacular. So they have an exclusive coming out. So that'll be shipping out next week, I believe. We'll get those in, and then we'll have those on the website. I think they're going to be about $15 a piece. We only have a very small number of those. And also there'll be another special being put out from Archie as well by that group that we'll announce later on. Probably end of next week or so, I believe. So just waiting on the final word for that. So do check that out. All right, let's jump into some of the comics this week that we're going to cover. First off, let's check out the cover of the week. Nothing crazy about this cover, except it's just pretty cool. We got King Spawn here. Looks like a skeleton head that maybe the skin's melting off it or something. I'm not too sure. I'm not reading King Spawn, but this just stood out to me as a pretty cool cover. So that to me is the cover of the week. Because again, it just stands out, draws your attention to it. So that's pretty cool there. All right. We'll start off by looking at the books that I covered digitally this week. First off was Batman, Catwoman, The Gotham War, Scorched Earth. This is the conclusion to all that crossover that's been happening for the last few months here. with Batman and Catwoman kind of warring at each other at odds on how to deal with criminals in the city in there. So they're forced to team up here to deal with how all the villains are kind of teamed up. Vandal Savage is in there as well too, so they're dealing with all the fallout in that. And don't be surprised, there's a few people here that might not make it through. Um, yeah, check it out. If you've been following that Batman Catwoman stuff going on, it's been great. And again, more going into how Batman's kind of losing his mind, having kind of like a split personality in there. So definitely check it out. It was good. I enjoyed it. From DC this week, we kind of have like a prelude to the Aquaman movie that's coming out in December. It's Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom special. So you got a few stories in here, kind of just bridging what happened from the last movie and going into this next movie here. You find out that Aquaman and Mera are going to have a baby. You got more of a story, kind of fleshing out more of the Black Manta character. Yeah, I myself, I'm not a huge Aquaman fan and haven't really followed the movies too much. I think I've seen them all, both of them. So we'll see where this one goes here. But if you need to get an Aquaman fill between now and the rest of the end of the year, and especially with the movie starting, this would be your book. From Marvel, we have a collection of comics that are all kind of digital comics that they've been putting out, and now they've collected in like one solid look here. So I believe this collects issues 13 through 24 of the web series that they have of this. I think it's on Comixology, or maybe it's maybe Marvel Comics Unlimited, I believe, actually. That sounds more right. And it's Jeff the Land Shark, and it's, like I said, a bunch of his stories collected together, and it's the Jeff first. This is great for young people. A lot of the stories in here don't even have words. So again, it kind of makes sense because, these are all, animals, right? So Jeff's an actual land shark. So fun for the family and fun for young readers. From Dark Horse Comics, we have The Midnight Show. Colin Bunn's one of my favorite writers. We covered the first issue of this last month, where it's one of the long lost horror icons, kind of like a Boris Karloff type of character. His lost film has been discovered, and apparently it's cursed. So there's one film Renaissance group that gets a copy of this film, and they're going to show it on screen for the first time. And as soon as they start showing it, all these kind of universal monsters start coming to life and showing up in the town there. So kind of fun there, kind of like a Monster Squad thing going on. I quite enjoyed it. From DC, we have a one-shot here called Supergirl. This comic is kind of, the comic itself is actually exactly doing what it's supposed to be. I don't know if it's supposed to be intentional or not, but it shows how Supergirl is kind of getting lost in all the super family that keeps growing nowadays. They have these young super twins there around. You got Superboy. You got Power Girl is there now too in that. So again, there's just a lot of super people, and she very similar looks like Power Girl. So even that is getting mixed up there. She's kind of feeling lost in her own world. She doesn't remember a bunch of her own world because she was young and all that as well too. So yeah, it's kind of a neat story there. It just kind of shows that where she fits in the super family. I'd rather read this than Power Girl. I'm not a big Power Girl fan, especially. Well, I am a Power Girl fan, but just not how they've taken her recently, given her mental powers and that. So I've always been a Supergirl fan. So definitely check this out. Again, just kind of shows where her place is in the Superman family nowadays. So she's still around and she's still relevant. Speaking of Superman, we had a few months ago, we had the 30th anniversary of the death of Superman, and now we've come full circle to the 30th anniversary of the return of Superman. So it's hard to believe, and it makes me feel very old that it's been 30 years since Superman has died, and he came back, and during that time, he had a few different versions of Superman, people out there being him, kind of representing him and that. So all those people do show up in here too. At first, I thought this was going to just be a collection of some of the older stories and kind of like a reprint facsimile in that, but it's actually all original work here. It's actually takes place now, and it's just stories about people kind of I'm reminiscing and about things that happened 30 years ago as they tie into something that's currently going on now. And again, it has all that Superman family involvement in it as well too. So, but it is neat though because all the original creator talent from the original run back 30 years ago is the one doing the stories now. So that is a good one. I liked it as well. From Dark Horse Comics, we have issue 2 of the new Usagi Yojimbo series there. This is called Ice and Snow. So again, last month was the first issue of Usagi Yojimbo being back at Dark Horse after being away, licensed over to IDW for the last few years. It's back at Dark Horse, and if you've never read Usagi Yojimbo before, this is probably a great place to start. Just the fun story of Usagi Yojimbo and his young apprentice. Samurai warriors exploring this northern mountain area, and they have to take shelter in this home because they are so cold, and the home ends up turning into kind of like this ice vampire is the lady that runs it there, and you can see her on the cover there. So they have to deal with that monster, and at the same time too, in the background developing that they haven't come across yet is this whole village and this gang of robbers who've now been taken over by a similar kind of demon of sorts as well too. So fun, great art. Stan Sakai's been doing all the Usagi Yojimbo stuff for over 30 plus years now, so that's pretty amazing. Yeah, check it out if you're a fan of like Ninja Turtle stuff or any kind of other animomorphic creatures and that. This is one of the guys that started it all, Usagi Yojimbo. From Marvel, we have The White Widow. This is a story of start of a new series based on that White Widow character that has showed up in all the other Black Widow properties and in that Thunderbolt stuff that's coming out. So if you're a fan of that blonde widow, the White Widow there, the Russian one, check this out. It's okay. It's kind of exactly what you would think it would be. It's almost exactly like almost like it was scripted for a Disney Plus show. They try to be funny and quirky in that, and it's okay. But I'm not a huge fan of this character to begin with. But it's all right. All right, let's jump into our Raw books for this week, and there's quite a few here. Sticking with Marvel, we have the new Ultimate Universe that is out. So this is number 1. So this is kind of launching off the new Ultimate Universe that is spun out of the Ultimate Invasion series here. So it is kind of good if you read that Ultimate Invasion series, but not totally necessary. But it does help a little bit because there is some stuff that is kind of happening right out of there. But this is going to, like I said, launch this whole new universe of all these Ultimate characters. So some of them will be very similar. Some of them will be very different. Like I believe in later this month or even in the next few weeks, we have the Ultimate Spider-Man version of this coming out, and he's married to Mary Jane, has a couple kids. So again, some of the stuff will be similar. Some of the stuff will be quite different. Some people are characters that aren't even who they are. Like some characters in here are like Thor is Thor, but maybe someone like Iron Man isn't who you would think it would be. So lots of different stuff there. If anybody ever read stuff in the original Ultimate Universe in the 90s, before it got way convoluted at the end there, you'll probably enjoy this. Also from Marvel, this is probably one of the most hyped about or anticipated books for the week. This is Spider-Boy #1. This is that kind of a young Spider-Boy, Spider-Man sidekick that is spun out of the Spider-Man series this year that everyone seems to just gone crazy for this new character. He is an experiment where a boy was, I guess, cloned or kind of meshed with a spider, and now he's like this kind of spider monster almost now. So he's a boy most of the time, about 12 or 13, but sometimes he gets angry or loses upset or whatever, and you can actually see the spider monster in him come out. So, but he's working with Spider-Man at the moment, like I said, kind of a sidekick. Apparently he's been around for a while, but people cannot remember him for whatever reason. So probably some kind of multiverse thing in that, but I'm sure a lot of people will be reading that just to see. And it did disappoint, but it was pretty fun, actually. So here's a neat one from Vaults called the Unnatural Order. I had ordered this one because I always order the independence and reviewing that, so I was quite happy with it when it came in. It's got some amazing art in here, and it's about these tribes and these Romans and these Vikings that are searching for this druid that has been kind of banished to an island just because he's so evil and he does all this horrible stuff in that. And this group of people are trying to not only find this druid to kill him and deal with him as well, but also find this this prisoner that this druid has locked away because he fears him, and I guess he's the only person that can stop him. And this druid's super powerful. He's like a druid from like a D&D game where he's like setting people on fire and turning them into trees and that. So that's why half the party has gone after this druid, and the other half of this party has gone after this prisoner, hoping to get this prisoner and convince him or free him to help fight this druid, Viking druid. And it turns out that when this party at the last page finds this prisoner, he's this looks like an American modern day American soldier. So it's like, how does that tie in there? So maybe some time travel stuff in there. Who knows? Great book so far. Like I said, really did enjoy the art. And like I said, I had this ordered already, pre-ordered it. When it turned up into the shop, turned out Vault had sent out copies, lots of copies of this. You could order as many as you want because they wanted to give one away to everybody. So at my shop at 204, they gave everybody who's a subscriber a free copy. So I actually managed to get two. So if you head down to your comic store, and if you're not able to get one of these for free, because like I said, they were giving these out pretty much free to everybody, full-size comic, #1 first appearance. If anyone wants a copy, I do have an extra because, like I said, he gave me an extra because I had ordered it. So if anybody wants to reach out in the comments, if they didn't get one, I can give them one. Just say claim Unnatural Order #1. Okay, great book so far from Vault. From Oni Press, we have Faceless and the Family. Neat book, kind of weird. Great thick size, cardstock cover, so that's nice. Black and white art inside. Usually I always tell people not to let that deter them because I like the black and white art. This book is no different. It has a lot of that style. That's that art term called hatching, where they use like the a lot of like fine detail ink line detailing to get the shading in that. It's about this weird group of people. One guy, he just walks around with a pipe on his head. He's all disfigured underneath there, and he lives in this place basically like a planet that's a hand. It's not an actual hand, but it's just shaped like that. So him and all these people live in the palm of the hand, and up towards the city is where the fingers are, is like where the rich in that are. And he's he's trying to save up money because he wants to go there to get facial recognition or facial reconstruction surgery because he's disfigured and that under there. And he ends up meeting these other people along the way, and they kind of join his party. And then there are misfits as well too. And it turns out that maybe he's not really disfigured under there. He just thinks he's disfigured or sees himself as that, even though he's not. So kind of a weird book, very, very different, but interesting at the same time too. So if you like something that's a little different, a little strange, this is, like I said, dystopian society where these people are trying to go to almost to like a elite city in that to get this operation from. So I guess almost like a different kind of telling of the Wizard of Oz, really, when you think about it. Weird. But neat book. It's called Faceless and the Family from Oni Press. Little different. An imprint from Image called One Man Art Comics. We have Simon Krudarski's new book called Blood Commandment. I really enjoyed this book here. His art is amazing, and he's doing the art and the story in here. So you can kind of see in here, you get this opening splash page where it's someone hunting for deer. And it's a neat story. It's about these people who are in a town, and as they're living there, they're finding out that um, they got some weird. It's kind of an isolated place, and they got some weird killings going on, and they figure it's wolves, pack of wolves moving in from the mountain, and you have this one family there, a man and his young son that live even deeper, more isolated into the wooded, kind of mountain area, and it turns out that they live out there, and he lives out there because he's a werewolf. It definitely seems like, so he lives out there in isolation to kind of protect himself, keep himself away from others and that. But at the same time, too, it seems like it's kind of catching up with him a little bit now, too. And this book is so jam packed that the final page of the story is on the back cover, even. So they don't leave anything out in here. No filler at all killer. Great book so far. Like I said, Blood Commandment from Image and Simon Skrzydski. Check it out just for the artwork alone. If you've seen that book, Something Epic, that's been going on for the last few months, that's his artwork in there as well too. Definitely going to be checking that out more. All right, what else do we got here? From Boom Studios, we have a book called The Space Between. Yeah, I didn't mind this book at all, and even the story in that. My only complaint about it is it's a very, very flimsy book, very, very wispy and flimsy cover. Not much there to even, it's hard to even hold it without damaging it. And the paper inside isn't much better. So usually Boom Studios is better than that. I'm not sure why they're not this time, but that's actually the only complaint to have it. It is about kind of these giant spaceship cities that are floating, and they're flying through space, and trying to look for new worlds to live on, obviously to colonize. And they have classes of people. You have the people that live down at the bottom, who run everything and the kind of maintenance and that, kind of like the slaves. And then you have the upper echelon that live in the higher up parts, and they're like pilots and that too, and the space flyers and that. So they never interact, and most of the time they never ever even see each other in a lifetime. Well, the one girl on the cover here, she's I guess a princess or a higher up person, princess type, and also one of the top pilots. And she's going to be getting grounded for breaking the rules and that, even though the stuff she does is helping out people and saving people, but it's reckless and that. So she ends up, kind of discovering this lower levels and interacting with this person and falling in love. And not even falling in love. They just have a meeting, and as soon as people find out about it, they're both whisked away. He's taken to jail, and now he spends 4 years in jail because of this, and just because of him meeting her and that. And during that time, the 4 years that they're in jail, that's where it's kind of brought to light how it's like, the two classes are treated so different. So while he's in jail, there's kind of like almost like a resetting of society, almost because of this interaction of the two. So kind of a neat book, but lots going on in there. A lot of like political, social order stuff. From Scout Comics, we have a book called A Haunting on Mars. This is a fun book here. I like the way how it has kind of homage to the old horror series there. Got some great artwork on here. Let's see here. This is about a team that are sent to Mars to figure out what's happening up there, why nobody's responding anymore. This corporation has kind of colonized Mars for about 10 years now, and within the last few days, they're not getting any response from anybody up there. It started off as kind of like this high-end suburb where the elite could go, and it started off great, but it was built really crappily, and this everything's been kind of deteriorating ever since. And the people up there have gotten sicker because of radiation burns and stuff. So these people are up there investigating what's going on, and they all have special abilities. Like one person's a computer hacker, one person's a psychic person, one person's like a super soldier in that, and they're up there checking what's happening and what's going on, why no people are communicating in that, and just they're doing the corporation's bidding, and they get up there and they run into all kinds of problems, all kinds of monsters and stuff. And it turns out that they kind of have like these crazy supernatural monsters and that going and haunting everything now. So it's almost very aliens like, um, but on Mars. One that I really enjoyed this week from, let's see here, from Dark Horse Comics and from Scott Snyder is it's called Canary. It's a little bit of a thicker book here. So again, this is for the first time in print. It was actually done on a web series as well too through Comixology. So they actually have the first 2 issues in here, chapter 1 and 2. And like I said, some great art on here. It is very colorful but realistic at the same time and dark. It's about a town where it's a mining town, and the people there have started reporting kind of craziness going on. People getting murdered, multiple murders going on for like just random reasons, like kids walking up and just killing their school teachers kind of thing. So kind of weird supernatural stuff going on. And they think it might have something to do with the river water there being poisoned by what's going by the mine type of thing. So this super famous sheriff, kind of like what's his name there? The guy that went William Pat Garrett type of thing, that went after William the Kid, Billy the Kid type of thing. He's there, like a Pinkerton almost type of thing, and he's been paired up with this this black geologist who's there, doing the research to see if the mine does have anything going on in there. This town was once super prosperous because of the mine, and now it's not. Again, lots of craziness going on because of the supernaturalness. Yeah, who knows what's going on there? Fun book so far. If you like westerns, and if you like kind of spooky stuff like Scott Snyder does here and that, definitely check it out. All right, another one from a Blaze that I quite enjoyed too. This one is from it's called Almost Dead. And this one is very typical of your zombie type of movie. You have a woman here, which you can see on the cover there. She is at the airport, and she gets off the plane, and she goes into the bathroom, and she's kind of falls and hits her head, and I guess she smacks it so hard that she's actually unconscious for a few days. So super serious concussion in that. And while that's all going on, while she's all unconscious, all hell's breaking loose on the world. All these zombies and stuff are coming up. This plague starting. So she wakes up, I guess, like I said, after a couple of days, and she's stumbling around in the airport, and she does realize that it's empty and stuff, and she realizes that something strange is going on. No phones aren't working, and she does come across some people in that, but she doesn't realize that they're zombies yet, because they keep playing up that she's very disoriented and confused because of this this major concussion. She actually does make it out, gets into a car, and tries to drive away and figure out. No, she figures, I just got to get home, and actually runs across another survivor. And ends up being attacked by the survivor. Ends up being attacked by like a zombie type of thing right in front of her, and she ends up passing out in the car. Again, just because of this, too much going on, and this head injury and that. So she wakes up again hours later. It's dark. She's still disoriented in that, and just decides to drive to. Well, I believe she's supposed to be driving to her uncle's house. That's where she was going this whole time, and she ends up getting there. Again, strange things going on, but she's not really fully coherent of stuff because of this head injury. Ends up showing up there, and again, can't get in. She's locked out, and she's trying to crawl on the window and falls and hit her head yet again, and unconscious. And then we see this shadowy figure rolling up on her there. So we don't know if it's a zombie or her uncle or what. So again, this girl's got all kinds of issues going on because of her head issues. yeah, so I don't know how much different it's going to change in that. Um, Lots of these books, kind of now that I'm reading them, all kind of have very similar themes, right? Like it's typical zombie, or this is like Wizard of Oz, or this is like your regular kind of cowboy one, but that's all right. From Dynamite, we have a new Red Sonja book. This one is called Savage Sonja. The artwork in here is done on the cover. Was done by that same person that just did the Canary one there, so that's kind of cool. I really like the art on here. So again, you got a new Red Sonja series, and someone said to me, "Oh man, like why is there so many Red Sonja series and Vampiro series from Dynamite?" I'm like, I don't know. Why does Marvel put out like 50 different Spider-Man titles, or why does the DC have like 50 different Batman titles? Those are their main characters, and um, I'm not saying all the stories that are great, but I mean, there's enough interpretation to have multiple stories, I guess. So, and that's what they do. So the artwork in here is all right. Um, it's nothing great, but it's nothing bad either. I've seen much worse when it comes to some books like that. But it is just a story of Red Sonja helping out these two kind of forbidden lovers, and they're crossing through the desert. And they hear that they know this desert has like these monsters and stuff. So they're crossing through. They get attacked by these big monsters, and not having to deal with that. And then crossing through some more of that, and then again, what it comes across me like almost like an army of the undead as well too. So typical Red Sonja stuff. Just a new Savage Red Sonja book. I would expect this one being called Savage Red Sonja to be a little bit more violent, a little bit more gory in that. So we'll see, because I mean there was some fighting in there, but it was just like a giant kind of like Cthulhu monster type thing. So all right, my final book of the evening is from AWA Studios. We have from Red Light. It's kind of a neat story here. The character on the cover there is a AI, so artificial intelligence, kind of robot type thing, android, sex worker, has been for a few years. She works in a brothel, and she's kind of, I won't say sad or anything, but it seems like with most AI, they kind of realize at some point that they don't want to just do that. They want to get out and see the world and experience life as a real person. So she's kind of having those feelings as she's never left the brothel area and that. And she's, like I said, kind of tired of just kind of being everybody's toy in that. So as she's heading back to her room one night from being repaired from an abusive client that kind of broke her a little bit, she runs across this, what she assumes is just another robot little girl that ends up being a human that's been in there for her whole life as well too, never seen the outside. So she's decided now that this is wrong, and she's going to get her and this little girl out of there. So see where it goes from there. It's kind of a neat story. Very, very, again, being the material here, again, being a sexual AI worker, it is very, very graphic. So just be aware of that going in. But a neat story so far. I kind of liked it. All right, everybody. That is the books that we had for this week. But we got you covered for your FOC coming up for the next few weeks in that. So if you could get these books in and ordered to your local comic book store by Saturday evening, just to guarantee that you get copies of the books that you'd want. You're not trying to chase down no books that you're not going to be able to get because they were either not ordered at all or just didn't get one in for you because they didn't order enough copies. So the list is for this week, your final order cutoff is books need to be ordered by Saturday night for November 29th, and those books include Image, your Boom, your Dynamite, your Source Point Press, and your DC books. One of the books standing out in those DC books is they have a new Batman 89 series starting out. It's called Batman 89 Echoes. Check that out. December 6 books falling under this week are Image as well, which is weird. You got both images in here. AWA, your Boom, your Ablaze, and your DC. Now you're seeing multiple listings for some of this stuff here, because usually what happens, because it's the end of the year, they kind of split up their stuff a little bit. I guess that's just so to help with shipping, and when it comes to shipping rates or shipping books out and that. I'm not too sure, so maybe just do both in that. December 13th, you got your Dark Horse, your IDW books, and your Marvel. December 20th, you got that new company Distillery has that Blasphemous #1 and your Keen Spot books. And then January 3rd just has the Vengeance of Moon Knight #1 only. So again, December 13th is all your Marvel, but then you got January 3rd for your Moon Knight book. So again, a little weird. It's only going to be like that for the next couple of weeks, because then once January starts, it kind of goes back to normal. So yeah, that's your information for this week. Like I said, if you do get a chance, jump onto the the main Not Daddy Collectibles page. Check out some of these awesome books we have for sale. And also, if you got a moment, like I said, jump into the subscriber box. Jump in there for Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. We love to make content for you guys, and if we get those numbers up, it just gets easier and easier to do. So, all right, we'll see you guys next week. Peace out.